A verdict that has been reached now in the Arbery murder trial in Georgia. Gregory McMichael, Travis McMichael, and William Bryan have all been found guilty of murder in the shooting of Ahmaud Arbery. Joining me now for legal analysis, former federal prosecutor and partner at Essayli and Brown LLP, Bill Essayli. Bill, thanks for joining us here as we break down this breaking news. Now, if folks were following along with the trial, I would think that this verdict is probably not terribly surprising, but what are some of the elements, the key elements of the case that you believe produced this verdict today?
Yes, I think coming off the Rittenhouse case, people are thinking that this is a self-defense case. This case is not a self-defense case. This case was a case in which three individuals cornered the victim here and fired a weapon at him because they believed he was committing a crime. They believed he committed a burglary. So their defense essentially was that they were committing a citizen's arrest. The problem with a citizen's arrest is that you're not allowed to use excessive force. And here, I think the jury clearly saw that the victim here, Ahmaud Arbery, was doing nothing other than jogging at the time, and they used a weapon to subdue him. And it was on video, which was captured, and I just think the jury looked at that and said, no, there wasn't a sufficient basis here for citizen's arrest. Even if there was, the force was excessive, and therefore there is no exception to the homicide here, and they are guilty of murder. And I think that's a key difference in this case, is that they used the citizen's arrest defense.
Yeah, and they didn't actually see Arbery commit a robbery. They suspected that he might have been doing that, or that he might have been connected to some robberies, but they really had no evidence of that, and they decided to pursue him rather than calling the police. Now, this was a more complex case than the Rittenhouse case, as you pointed out, and I was wondering if you could explain the difference between malice murder and felony murder to us, because we did hear that in the judge's in the discussion, certainly today when they read the verdicts.
Yeah, malice murder is what people are probably more familiar with, first-degree murder. It's just in Georgia they call it malice murder. So typically that's premeditated murder, murder that was done intentionally. You intentionally intended to kill another person. And here they did find Travis McMichael, the person that actually fired the weapon, guilty of malice murder. The other two defendants did not fire a weapon. No shots were fired by the other two defendants. They were charged with what's called felony murder. And in most states, if you were committing a felony, let's say a robbery of a bank, and one of your co-conspirators kills someone in the commission of that felony, then you are also liable for murder. Now, obviously, they're not likely to get a similar sentence. The sentencing will be different. But as far as criminal liability, if you're engaging in a felony and somebody dies, you are guilty of murder. And in this case, they were charged with committing aggravated assault and false imprisonment because they were trying to block off and apprehend Ahmaud Arbery without a legal basis.
You know, it's interesting. You raised the false imprisonment issue, which I think to a lot of people seemed to be rather unique because they were outside. But the prosecutors said, look, that they were pursuing him in a truck, and they did confine him, even though they were outside, even though they didn't actually capture him. You know, do you think that that was sort of a unique way of approaching this case?
Yes. I have some audio coming in. I'm not sure where it's coming from. But false imprisonment does not have to be like you're confined in a jail cell. If you prevent someone from freely moving, and it doesn't matter how much, how big the area is, that could be interpreted as false imprisonment. So it doesn't matter that they were outside. If they prevented him from freely moving, in this case he was jogging, they blocked him off and then they tried to subdue him, that is considered false imprisonment.
Now, the defense attorneys have said that they are going to appeal. As you followed this case, did you see anything that, in your mind, could be grounds for an appeal?
You know what? There were several motions made, but I didn't see any motions with merit. They tried to disqualify the judge and get a mistrial. I will tell you, it is very common in criminal trials for those motions to be filed. Most defense attorneys file them as a matter of course because In the event they are granted, then it'd be a win for their side. But I didn't see anything. I thought the prosecution in this case, unlike Rittenhouse, was much more professional. They stuck to the facts and the evidence in the case, and the judge appeared to be fair and objective as well. I didn't watch every minute of the trial, but for the portions I saw and the evidence considered, it sounded like the jury came to a just verdict here. And if I can point out something that's really important with this case and Rittenhouse is that there was video evidence in both cases. And I can't emphasize the importance of video evidence. Jurors love video. They don't want to rely on witness testimony. They want to see it themselves. And in this case, I think you could have had two different verdicts, both in Rittenhouse and in this case, if they were not captured on video. So that is something that should not be underestimated as well.
Yeah, Bill, I appreciate you walking us through all of that because, here at Newsmax, what we're trying to do, which the mainstream media is not doing, is we want to comment necessarily less on the case and on the defendants, and really give people the facts and lay it out. Now, going back to the mainstream media, one more question for you, Bill. They were outraged when the Rittenhouse verdict was handed down. Even Vice President Kamala Harris attacked the United States' justice system, saying that there is, quote, plenty of work that needs to be done. But don't both of these verdicts, each in their own way, show that the system is working?
Absolutely. Look, our founding fathers were really wise beyond their time. They knew that the most dangerous thing the government can do is take away somebody's liberty and lock them up. And they knew that if the government was going to do that, they wanted citizens, everyday citizens like you and me, to be the ones who held that power to be able to convict another person. A judge cannot convict you, a prosecutor cannot convict you. And in both cases, we took members from the community, everyday people, presented them with the evidence and the law, and it's up to them to make the decision, not the media, not the prosecutor, not the judge. And what we're seeing here is that process working. It's a very unique process. We're very lucky that we have this process here in the United States. And it's really one of the final checks that we have on our government is the jury system. And we should be very proud this week of I believe, both outcomes, because the jury got it right, despite the media, coercion, threats, all those considerations. They got it right based on the evidence.
All right. I want to thank you, Bill Essayli. Appreciate your insights here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, where real news for real people.